Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next edition of Railroaded in Missoula, the homeless story. Past few nights I've been going over some of the previous tapes that we have. Most of them you've seen, there's a few shots you haven't seen, but one that was aired this past year concerned this time last year, Christmas time. Somehow, somewhere, the story was going around that railroaded Tales of the Homeless would be the reason for the Poverello being closed. Or more specifically, if the people from the Poverello, the clients, talked to railroaded Tales of the Homeless, the Poverello was going to close. Of course, this was just a rumor, but it was started by someone somewhere in the building. We have it on tape. I haven't heard no rumors this year. This is great, but I don't think that this is an improvement. But this is a topic for next week's program and the weeks after. One of the previous programs showed Gus going over the Articles of Incorporation, and I think at this time it might be a good idea to go over them again. It's sort of like when you rent the house, you sign a lease. You keep reading it to, see what you can do, what you can't do, all this sort of stuff. So we're going to take another look at the Articles of Incorporation again tonight from a different point of view, maybe. One of these sentences in the Articles of Incorporation: it is the philosophy of the Poverello Center that its services be rendered in as personal way as possible, that respect for the individual human person and his or her dignity be of primary concern. Well, several weeks ago you saw the tape with Jeff. Jeff got hired, and the day he was supposed to start work, he got fired for socializing. He was prohibited from following the Articles of Incorporation if he wanted the job. His attitude was, I'm a human being, they're a human being, I love them. It cost him a job, and he never even had one paid day on the job. He had 3 unpaid days, but he never got a paid day on the job, and he got fired. Another sentence reads, every person should be met with concern, a presumption of trustworthiness, and a respectful attitude by the staff. Well, we know how one person was met, a Native American, Mary. She was called a bleeping Indian. Staff members no longer there, which is something to be grateful for. And then it goes on, to provide a meal to all people that come to the center. All people who come seeking help will be helped. Not true, not being practiced. You've heard the stories. We're going to review some of these stories in the future. To provide clothing to those that need it. Only used clothing is provided in most cases. There are some people that do get the new clothing, but it's not put out for the general public. We've discussed that. Kid Hurst standing up in the clothing room, used clothing coming up the back stairs, put that out for the people. New clothing coming up the front stairs, lock that up in the mouse room. For those that are not familiar, the mouse room is Kid Hurst's personal domain. To provide spiritual guidance when needed and desired. Nobody there is qualified. Nobody on the staff or the board of directors is qualified to perform spiritual guidance when needed and desired, and they won't. There was one case, though, a few years ago. Man passed away. It was a client, a fellow named Scott, and there was a memorial service of sorts presided over by Glenn Moyer. And at the end of the service, after which he made a couple of theological errors, his comments were, now anybody that wants to talk, come and see me or Larry DeGamo. We're available. Well, a lot of people there had a little bit of trouble suppressing the snickers because nobody considered Glenn Moyer capable of providing spiritual guidance. Not after this little session together, memorial service. And Larry DeGamo, that's where the snickers came in, I think. to involve all people in a community, regardless of faith, in an effort to demonstrate through Christian action people do care and do recognize that the unfortunate are many times powerless to help themselves. I have never seen any effort to involve all of the people in the community. All their efforts are directed to the go-along, get-along crowd. To coordinate with all other social agencies. In dealing with people problems, it is important to establish positive contact with other programs established in the community. Well, I don't really think there's people there that are qualified to do this. They do have a general knowledge. The clients know more about what they need than the staff does. The clients know where to go. They know what to do, who to talk to, who to see. They're on their own. We've seen that when Jeff first came to Missoula. He was told, go out and get the help. You only can stay here 10 days. Get the help you need. See the people you got to see. No references, no nothing. Just boot your butt out the front door in the morning and come on back at night. No guidance, no nothing. Maybe this is the reason that the Joseph and the Poverello are putting on a couple of more people for guidance and stuff like this, social workers. Maybe they're needed, but I don't think so. The people know what they need. The people know where to go. They don't need this. They may take advantage of it. Maybe it'll be a little bit of help, but the cost, I don't know. To extend to our fellow man love and concern in his hour of need, so that each may know that truly we are all brothers, regardless of race, color, or creed. Well, brothers and sisters, I think when this was written in 1974, there was a negligible amount of women involved in homeless programs where social concerns were. Today it's different, but they're brothers and sisters. To extend to our fellow man love and concern in his hour of need. I don't see it happening. And the board of directors doesn't really care. Recall my telling you a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, they put a sign up, meet with a member of the board of directors, 4 to 5 every Friday. Sign came down after 3 weeks. Board's not willing to put the time and effort into gaining the confidence of the homeless people, the people that are food insecure, the people with problems. So when it comes to extend to our fellow man love and concern in his hour of need, the only thing the board of directors expresses love and concern for is the building itself. None for the clients. Their actions show this. To be a light to the world, and in so doing, sow hope in the hearts of those that are less fortunate than we are. To be a light to the world. People never see the board of directors. They go up there in their ivory tower once a month, after making most of the decisions, having all of their discussion, email, on the phone. They come together to ratify the email conversations, the phone conversations. Sow hope in the hearts of those that are less fortunate than we are. They have no intent of doing this, no desire. Again, their actions show it. When you take a look at some of the employees at the Poverello, how can they be a light to the world? Just yesterday, I was down at the Poverello late in the afternoon, in the dining room talking with 3 or 4 people. Larry DeGamo walks out the back door. He's got a box under his arm. One of the men behind me says, "Wonder what he's taking home today." This is the reputation Larry DeGamo has. How can he be a light to the world? Kid Hurst. All those horror stories about food stamps. How can she be a light to the world? While this first part of the show here has been a rather sketchy demonstration, illustration of what the Poverello should be and what the Poverello is, I think you get the message. you can see the difference. The Poverello is not doing what they should be doing. One of the things that, in one of the tapes that I was going over this past week, I happened to think of Shelter the Homeless. Well, we have on tape, picture of a rainstorm. Kids are having fun in the rain. Kids will always have fun, most times. And there were people outside. One young man is just sitting on the porch, dejected. A couple of other people just plain bored. A couple having a cigarette. Mothers trying to make their kids happy. And the rain was coming down. It was pouring. And they couldn't go inside. The doors were locked. They were locked out. They either had to huddle together on the porch or get wet. Is that any way for adults to treat clients? Then I think there's something else we should take a look at. Again, these are pretty accurate, I guess you could say. And again, if I'm making any mistakes in what I'm about to tell you people, 258-6028. Poverello has a president of the board of directors. The Poverello has an accountant. The Poverello has a treasurer. Where I'm wrong, if I am, correct me. Let's go to the tax return for 1999. Direct public support. These are the donations, the checks you people send in. $192,509. Government contributions through grants, city, county, state, some come through the university, $100,482, totaling $292,991, direct public support and grants. Now, you've heard us talk about the actions of Larry DeGamo and Kid Hurst. And you know that that's one of the purposes of Railroaded in Missoula, the homeless story. Railroaded, Tales of the Homeless. One of the objects of the program is the removal of Larry DeGamo and Kid Hurst. You've heard the stories. You know what they're doing. They will not come down and say, so-and-so that I saw on the tape last night is a liar. They won't come down. They figure, if we ignore it, it'll go away. Sorry, it's not going to happen. We know that Larry DeGamo and Kid Hurst are hurting the people. When we go to the list of officers and directors, we find out that Larry DeGamo makes $27,000. That's what he made in 1999. Kid Hurst, we have to assume, is making a couple of $100 a week. That's $10,000. That's $37,000 between two people. Over 10% of the $292,991 that the Poverello received went to the salaries of these two people that you've been hearing so much about. But maybe it's not fair to use the government grants. Let's just talk about the money you people donate. $192,509. $37,000 of that goes for the salary of these two people. That's about 20%, I think. I can't figure it out off the top of my head, but probably about 20% of your donations go for the salaries of these two people. If that's the way you want to look at it. There's two different ways. Look at it any way you want. That's a big chunk of change for two people who are abusing the clients. Now you add in that other fellow that's not there any longer, Boo, there's another $10,000, $12,000. A great chunk of change goes for paying the salaries of people who abuse clients. That's a lot of money. The total salaries and wages of the Poverello for 1999, $205,870. The donations did not pay the salaries. Some of it came from government grants. Well, there was a few other sources of income. which only totaled about $7,000, $8,000, something like that. But this is where your money's going. Now your money's doing some good things too. But whether it's government grants, donations, memorials, it's all your money. Direct cash payment, or it's your money through taxes. The government grants. It's all tax money. $37,000, give or take a few, to pay Larry DeGamo and Kit Hurst in 1999. And we have on tape the abuse the clients put up with. If you were an employer, would you have an employee on your payroll who abused your customers? Now let's take a look at what you can actually do directly to help the homeless people, to help the people that are food insecure, payroll insecure. They're insecure one way or another. They're our brothers and sisters. We can live up to this, the charter. Feed the hungry, clothe the naked, shelter the homeless. Feed the hungry. We don't need the Poverello for that. They help. They do the bulk of the work. But you can do something individually. You heard me mention it last week. Gift certificates. Fold them, put them in a card, put them in an envelope. When you see one of the people that aren't as fortunate as we are, just give it to them and be on your way. It's that simple. They're $5 a piece. Somebody will get a meal out of them. There's 2 fast food restaurants within a mile of the Poverello that's selling on these gift certificates. There's many other things you can do. Brown bag it, but not with a lunch. Socks. Throw away razors. Little small can of shaving cream. Maybe a couple of packages of gum. And don't be bashful, throw in a pack of cigarettes. You're not going to hurt yourself, and I don't think you're going to hurt the homeless people, bad as smoking is. This is part of their lifestyle. Can't expect them to change just for you. You can't really deny them their lifestyle either. Or just grab a bag and put some crackers in it. Some box of cookies. Something like that. When you hit the off-ramp, the bottom of the ramp, see one of the men or woman there. They're hungry. They're spending a long time standing there. They could use a snack. Box of cookies. But do them a favor. Put a buck in with it too. So when they leave, they can stop off at the local fast food store, local gas station, and have a cup of coffee. It helps in this weather. They're cold out there. They're cold. Throw them a buck for a cup of coffee. They're not going to spend it on alcohol. They want that coffee. Many other things you can do. Use your imagination. Hats, scarves. They're not expensive, but you can do it yourself. You can make a direct contribution. You can have somebody get on that highway and say, I met a nice person in Missoula. Missoula's okay. You know Missoula's okay. I know Missoula's okay. But remember, we're only talking about 10% of the population. Other items you can throw in there is canned foods. We've all done it. Well, most of us anyhow in the service. Eat sardines out of a can, eat tuna fish out of a can, eat Spam out of a can. Homeless people will do it. They're hungry. They will appreciate something like this. Christmas has its happy side. It has its sad side. Christmas is happy when you're with your family and you're sharing. Most of these homeless people are not with their family. They're sad. Some of them have no family. I know it's not nice to be away from your family at Christmas time. Thanks to the Army, I spent a couple of Christmases away from my family. It gets lonely. Can you imagine how the homeless people feel? If they have family, no way to get to them, no way to call them, no way to communicate with them. Be a friend to a homeless person. And oh yeah, don't forget, Those Christmas cards you got in the mail, get the stamps. Take them to the Poverello. It doesn't matter if they reach the recipients late. The clients of the pub will love you for it. We all know that, according to Christianity, Judaism, all men are created equal, men being a generic term. Somehow we've kind of twisted that around a little bit so that some are more equal than others. Well, let's try to cut back a little bit on that this Christmas. Please, try to follow one or two of the suggestions I've made. Do something. Meet a homeless person directly. Even if it's nothing more than walking through downtown Missoula, waving and saying hello. Make a direct contact with a homeless person. You will feel better. And again, when it comes to donations, don't give cash. Checks, money orders, traveler's checks, goods, stuff like that, but make sure you get a receipt. You may need it someday. And, you know, another little thing you can do over the holidays while you're out shopping, you've seen the Salvation Army people out there. They're out there for pretty much 8 hours, I guess. It's long, it's cold, it's windy. Say hi to them. Say good morning. Say Merry Christmas. Say something cheery to help make their day. Well, this concludes another episode of Railroad into Missoula, Tales of the Homeless. We're here with you every Thursday night at 10 p.m. and every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Saturday's a repeat of Thursday's program. We'll be looking forward to talking to you again next week. And from Gus, Philomena, and myself, we wish everyone who enters 535 Ryman Street, everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, peace, joy, and we love you. Good night. God bless.